G'day legends. Trident Audio Development's well known for their awesome pieces of hardware equipment. They make beautiful mixing consoles as well as amazing rack gear. They recently dived into the plugin world and created some plugins emulated off of some of their hardware pieces of gear. And in this video, we're going to take a look at one of those, which is the 80B EQ. And there will be a link in the description below if you want to go check this plugin out. And while you're over there, check out some of the other plugins over on the Trident store, like the 9066 EQ, which is now a rare discontinued vintage rack equalizer. They have their LTS Tiltration plugin, which combines filters, saturation, and tilt EQ, which brings a whole new level of creativity for sculpting a sound. And don't forget to check out the TriMeter plugin. This is awesome for getting that perfect gain staging structure, as well as just checking the overall loudness of your mixers and masters. So this is the 80B EQ, and on the left-hand side, we've got a high shelf, which is switchable between 12K and 8K. We also have our high mid knob, which is sweepable between 1K and 15K. A low mid knob, which is also sweepable between 100 Hertz and 1.5K. And we also have a low shelf, which can be switched between 120 Hertz and 60 Hertz. There's also a 50 Hertz high pass filter and a phase invert button. Each of these bands has a -15 to +15 dB range. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the 80B EQ on our mix bus. I've got a mix here. It sounds a little bit muddy. It needs a little bit of polishing. So let's see what the 80B can do to fix this up. So super easy to dial in a really nice polished sound. This sounds great on the mix bus. And that high shelf is super sweet sounding. Switching between 12K and 8K, you can hear it just doesn't really sound very harsh when you boost it. It just has a really pleasing sound about it. Boosting a little bit of presence with the high mids just makes the track sound a little bit more lively, cutting away some dirty low mids that were adding a little bit of mud to the track. And then a cool trick, boosting the low shelf, I had it at 60 Hertz, but then high passing up to 50 Hertz just made the kick not get too thumpy and get too bassy sounding, but it did add some punch and definition to the low end. Okay, let's test this out on some drums now. Makes those drums come to life just like that. That 8K shelf on the drums just sounds really beautiful. And then just cutting away a little bit of the dirty mids, which are kind of mudding up the sound a little bit, giving the low end just a tiny bit of extra thump, and then a tiny bit of high mid presence. It's just really bringing these drums to life. So I've got a piano that's a little bit too bright. It's a little bit like clangy sounding. Let's see if we can warm it up a little bit with the 80B. So definitely made it a lot richer and warmer sounding. Okay, so we've got a bass guitar. It's a little bit honky sounding. Let's see if we can bring out some of the upper mids and make it a little bit fatter. Really transform that bass into something way more pleasing sounding. Let's try the 80B out on the electric guitar bus. So just taking a little bit of that honky mids out, just making them a little bit more open sounding. Sounds really cool. Okay, so we've got the 80B on the mix bus, drums, bass, piano, and electric guitars. Let's bypass it off and on and see what the mix sounded like before we added the 80B to it. So that's just night and day. The 80B has really cleaned up any of the muddiness in the mix, but it's also enhanced all of the good stuff as well. Let's do one more example on some vocals. Let's check it out.
Well, maybe the moon, I kissed her face, turned her away. The tide runs out, but here I'll stay. Baby, it's true, you're just an illusion. Well, maybe the moon, I kissed her face, turned her away. The tide runs out, but here I'll stay. Baby, it's true, you're just an illusion.
So that high shelf is just so silky smooth, sounds great on vocals, really opens them up. And then just cutting away some of those mids around 700, 800 hertz, just again opens the vocal up in a really nice way, especially when the vocals are all stacked together. You can hear there's a bit of a build up in the mids, which gets a little bit nasty sounding. This just cleans it up nicely. A little bit of a boost to the low end with a low shelf at 120 hertz. Just adding a little bit of weight to the vocal, and then just a little bit of 1K, just to keep the presence of the vocal there, just a little touch of that. So one more time, full mix with vocals this time, bypassing the 80B off and on. Let's check it out.
Maybe the moon, maybe I kissed her face, turned her away. The tide runs out, but here I'll stay.
So by just applying the 80B across this mix, we've given it extra punch, clarity, and excitement. This is a really lovely sounding EQ, and it just works so well on anything you put it on. If you like the sound of the 80B, there's a link in the description below. Go check it out for yourself. There's a 7-day free trial that you can do. So get it in your session and test it out. I'm sure you will love it just as much as me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out the link in the description below to my website. Check out my range of drum samples and mixing courses. Grabbing any of that stuff really helps support this channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.